Yeah. Yay! Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another Bonestone Bash. I'm here with a very special guest. Introduce yourself. Allorah Rayne. And of course, no bash would be complete without artist extraordinaire who will soon be doing her own art lessons, Anna Turian.
Hi, guys.
Every chance I get, Right, so we are here. We've got a slightly different bash for you. We are, yes, going to be creating. Yes, we are going to be conceptualizing, but we will also be doing a little card reading. Now, many of you who have been privy to all Bonestone bashes will know that we get lots of requests to read. Are you singing cards? Are you going to be pulling any cards? So today we are actually going to be pulling cards in a very rare event. I figure I've got my STW counterpart here, staying here in my hot little home, really hot little home. And we often sling cards together. Anna has never before slung cards with us. I figure it's time to bring her into the fold. And I'm just really excited because, as you know, Anna is a creator of tarot. And she is a magical practitioner in her own right. She has such a beautiful way of looking at the cards. She has created her own cards. So you know she's got an idea about it, guys, you know. And I'm quite confident that she can really she's going to give you something very unique. Not to put you on the spot, Anna, but I feel like I did.
Yeah, no pressure there.
That's amazing work, folks. Amazing work. You can't have her. No one can have her. She's all mine. Right, so where are we, Anna? Introduce yourself as per usual and the run up. And
okay, all right. So hello everybody. It's been a little while, right? But we wanted to do the bash with Allorah here, so we wanted to wait. So as many of you know, I posted 3 of the cards already on the Facebook group, but I will be revealing them again now, and also the 4th card that you did not see. And Avalon, you were going to be talking about that card.
Yes, I'm so excited.
All right, so we're working on the suit of Pentacles. We're starting with the Ace, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. That's what we have right now from the suit. And we're going to be doing some more tonight. But without further ado, let me just start showing you the cards. And, you know, I did do some of these live on Facebook. So I know some of you.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. I think, I don't know about anyone else who was watching those lives, but the Ace of Pentacles was out of this world. Like, just watching it unfold. Incredible Ace.
Let me just move.
I'm going to into the video.
All right. Okay, here we go. So this is the Ace of Pentacles.
Oh, that's pretty.
Do this. Okay, all right, there we go. And that's the full color version. And so again, we have the skull and also the mandrake root that is digging through the earth. It's coming through the skull and blooming. And so I know a lot of people were asking me during the live painting session what I thought that meant. For me, it's, you know, it's the fact that earth is strong and it will go through anything. If you look at roots of a tree, if you try to, you know, you put cement on a base of a tree, it'll poke through, it'll fight to go through. And this is the beginning of the suit of Pentacles, so it, you know, it just makes sense to show that strength coming through. So regardless of even of death, you know, the suit of Pentacles strive. So that would be my take on it. Anything to add?
No, that's just the nature of it. It's life through death, and it's a cyclical thing. And it's Bonestone, and I just needed there to be a bone there, like so bad. But I always wanted, and Anna can attest to this, I always wanted the Mandragora root there. I always wanted it. I just think it is such an iconic botanical. The root even made its way into Harry Potter. Oh, yeah. It's so iconic, and it has such a unique shape. And if you Google it, you will see people have done some incredible things with it. So it's a beautifully recognized magical herb. It is a witch's herb. It is the herb of witches. If you have ever read anything about mandrake through, say, Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, you will see a lot of the folkloric attachment to mandrake and how it is just so of the earth and of magic and of creation and of manifestation, which I believe is in direct alignment with the resourceful aspects of the suit of pentacles. And then there's the bone.
So yeah, you're seeing through the earth. So that's what you're seeing, all right?
Yes.
So this is value. All right. And you know, this is, we're introducing the sky on the first card. So you have the yellow, the teal, and this kind of purple tone. So this will be within the background of each of the cards in the suit of pentacles.
And that's something I really love that you guys have done with the suit of pentacles so far, because it's default, I think, for tarot artists to automatically go green when they get to pentacles, and you guys have taken it a different place, but it works. So that's awesome.
That is, I never thought about the fact that it's, yeah, it's usually is green, huh?
What was the original colors? You're like, I'll make you fall in love with yellow. She said this to me. I'll make you fall in love with yellow. See, I'll show you in a really pretty way. It'll be really pretty, she says to me. So she did get, we got like monochromatic type of effect with the yellow, the middle tone, and then the purple.
Right.
Yeah, so I quite like it. I'm thinking about making that ace the header for my YouTube channel because I love it so much. Like that to me is like, that's everything. That's everything to me. That's the best ace I've ever seen in my whole life. Ace of Pentacles ever. And there you have it, folks.
All right, so I'm moving to the 2. So I know we did like a whole poll, right, about with the spiders. So we looked at all different types of spiders, and some of the really cute ones, the ones that are really, you know, weren't that scary. The ones that had like the eyes, multiple eyes, they're tiny spiders. Well, those are jumping spiders, and jumping spiders don't usually have, don't spin webs. So that was going to spin a web. So what we decided, we're gonna create our own little spider here, and we did. So this is the 2 of Pentacles. We just there we go, the light kind of went by. So it's going to be, you know, if you can see this actually on the Facebook page how it's cropped, but it's going to be cropped. You know, you're going to see mostly the spider and the web. And on he's very colorful, first of all. Again, you have this sky that is going to be consistent throughout, and he's hanging on this leaf, and he's working at his spider web. The idea of multitasking, of, you know, consistently making sure that everything is right. And, you know, we had to do something because it's very easy to fall into that area where it's mostly about choices, which way to go. Like, but this is the card of multitasking and not necessarily choices. So, and also we have included here, let's zoom in a little, the symbol, it's a Reiki symbol on him, and it's the symbol of Chokure. And that is the first Reiki symbol. It's a symbol of power. And usually it's to activate power. You draw that within the Reiki, you know, when you're doing Reiki, to activate your power. So it made sense to activate this little guy with this power. Those are the 2.
This card, that was my only question. I was like, what's on its back?
What?
When I first saw the card, that was the only question I had. I was like, what's on its back? I don't know Reiki symbols.
Reiki symbol of Chokure.
Works.
I will. For those of you who are not familiar with with Reiki, I will go through my Reiki book and I will see if I can find a really good description. I've got a very, very good book on Reiki here, and I'll see if I can find the description of the chakra, and that way you can have that at your disposal. And I might even include a snippet, a quoted snippet of that in the guidebook, just to help people out, because I feel that a lot of the other symbols that we have used are either purpose-created sigils, in which case there's no need to really describe them because they are the magic within themselves, and also runes. And runes are quite prevalent, whereas Reiki, yes, it's very well known, but you need to be attuned to Reiki in order to receive information about those symbols. And so I think it would be helpful if you just had a little something there in regards to that symbol, because when you first do see that beautiful, colourful spider, the symbol is quite prominent on its back, and it does have quite a connection to the story of the card itself, in the sense of activating power, multitasking, putting your best out there, and really what would be compartmentalizing your skill sets and applying all those compartments. And it steps away a lot from the juggling that you oftentimes see with Rider-Waite-Smith. So everything with Rider-Waite-Smith, it's pretty much balancing, juggling. It's that kind of energy that you'll see, whereas this one, it's weaving. And I like the idea of weaving just that little bit more.
They can't see you. They see me.
That's all right. But you're beautiful, so that's fine.
Moving on to the Three of Pentacles. All right. Okay. So this is 3.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone would think I didn't even design these. They're just so amazing.
This is 3 of Pentacles, and here you have the mason, the stonemason, working on the stone itself, and these are spirals. And I did a lot of research into like the Celtic design work on the stones, and a lot of them had these spiral patterns. Very simple, very like it's a motif that kind of goes through all of them. And you know, if you think about it, like all the even in the universe, the spiral is just such an element that gets repeated, you know, in nature, you know, everywhere around. So it's a very ancient symbol. And so here he's working on one of the stones, and you have in the background 2 helpers and rising them up. And I can't remember who came up with having him work on a stone circle. So kind of like you know, they're getting ready to set up a stone circle. So this is the 3.
Yay!
Oh, yeah. And the spiral. I mean, the spiral symbolism. Yeah, that's the Fibonacci sequence. That's life, essentially.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and now like golden thread. The golden sequence. The golden sequence, that's right. Yeah, so you could see it you would also see that in the nautilus shells.
Yes, exactly. So
you know, I see that included in a lot of alternative natural home designs, like cob homes and you know, earthen constructs. And you know what? How's this for effect? Karis Molina was talking about this very thing, the Fibonacci and the golden sequence, this morning in her cob home vlog. Full circle. Hi, Karis.
All right, are you guys ready for the 4?
I was born ready.
All right, so Avalon, you're gonna talk about this one, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Here I go.
Oh. Okay, the most important elements of the 4 of Pentacles is the fact that it's a full skeleton. The end. No, not so we decided to go with a very colorful skeletal structure inspired by, what was it? I think it was Catholic priests that were buried with all of their wealth. We also pulled a little bit of that from Egyptian culture, like ancient Egyptian culture, where noblemen, pharaohs, and things of that nature were buried with a lot of their wealth. And so with the Four of Pentacles, it shows this desire to really restrict or hold on to and thus restrict the outgoings of your resources. And there is a hoarding, a miser kind of energy attached to the Four of Pentacles, in which case we've decided to depict a skeleton who was so busy hoarding her wealth that she deteriorated and life literally passed her by. So she's gazing out of that window. She's wearing all of her wealth, but there is nothing physical left of her other than her bones. And so that restriction of her wealth, that restriction of her resources left her always wanting for that view on the outside, but never being able to quite get it because she was so in that miser state of mind where she wanted to hoard it, keep it, and not actualize it. So there's this underlying message to the Four of Pentacles in this particular card that says, if you have resources, then it is in your best interest to apply your resources effectively. This doesn't mean waste your resources. Of course, savings is a really important thing, but then we can get into that mind space of saving far too much, which then can turn into hoarding, which then can turn into a lack of growth, because we are not, in fact, spreading our seed, not to make that sound dirty, but we're not really casting out our wealth so that it can bring more wealth to us or more resources to us or more prosperity to us. So you need to spend a little to get a little. You need to invest sometimes to gain quite a bit, especially in our modern construct with the way that our financial industries are these days. So you have to give a little to get a little. And sometimes if you give the right amount, you'll get more than what you've given. And it's a reminder to let things go when the time is right to do so. Otherwise, you might find yourself in that very blocked state where your life lacks the necessary resources to continue to grow and to blossom and to prosper, all because you're not making those right choices to invest when you need to. And yeah, there's a little message of let it go. Elsa from Frozen is there. Let it go.
Yeah, that start playing in my mind. So those are the 4 cards that we have right now for the Pentacles. And mind you, this is the last suit, and then we're done.
Yep, that's it. So we've got 4 of the Pentacles. We've got a few what's the word? A few ideas floating around. Yeah, I really need to find that thread where I was sharing my ideas for you, Anna. Now I'm gonna go looking because I did share quite a
Walk back to you because all you see is my face. My face.
Oh. How about we just No, let's read it even. That's what we need.
There you go.
Okay. So let me see if I can find, I did send, we talk a lot, Anna, so this could take a bit. This could take a bit of time for me to find that right thread.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to comment that 4 of Pentacles is probably the best depiction of the 4 of Pentacles I have ever seen.
Aw, thank you.
Well, I'm serious because, like, in a lot of decks, I think it is a glossed over card. I don't think people really put the time and effort into it that it necessarily deserves. And most of the time it had like the pentacles are used like pip style and the person is holding 1, or, you know, it's not a pictorially descripted card, I guess is the right word.
I think people tend to gloss over the suit of Pentacles full stop.
Yeah.
I think it's the least exciting, they think. They think it's the least exciting, which I'm fucking offended as a Taurus. She's offended too. I'm like, where's our Earth? So we didn't make our Earth green, we made our Earth more or less purple, and we've given it lots of colour. The spider's colourful. The spiral man building his like stone circle. It's colourful. The skull with the mandragora root. That's fucking colourful.
Yeah, and even like the 3 of Pentacles that you showed, like with the spiral symbolism, you could go on that and start talking about, the 3 of Pentacles is representative of starting to hone a craft, a specific skill. And with the spiral, it's talking about starting in one space and continually repeating that until you come back to where you started and cycling again. And yeah, I think the symbolism is great.
I found the thread. Shall we? Shall we go through this? Hang on, I've got to pull this chat up again. Because now it's closed on my phone.
What are we pulling?
So I just found that chat thread between you and I where I listed all my thoughts. Yeah, because I wrote them down for a change, Anna.
Somewhere. I wrote them on a piece of paper. Now, if I could just find the piece of paper.
Well, I've got it here. So
you have to
I'm going to read it. Okay, so this is what I've written. I had a thought for the 5 of Pentacles. That still stands today. That's still my thought. A family taking shelter from a nasty storm. They look ragged, as does their dwelling, which is temporary, just leaves and twigs by a tree. They are huddled together, a little wet, but the earth around them is fruitful, and the storm will, of course, pass. That's what I've got for the 5.
I think that I like that. When I read that, I like that idea. And you know, because I was walking in the woods actually the other day, and I saw there's in my area people like in the woods. Sometimes you'll see they build shelters, like in case you end up in the middle of a storm, specifically for that, and they actually have like makeshift stakes and stuff, like an A-frame. And I went inside one because I was like, oh, I can actually look around, and it's pretty cool. It was like a little house, but small, you know.
It's so awesome. I don't know if you guys, I can't remember the name of it. You might know it. There is a Russian woman. I think she's Russian. She has lived in the wild her entire life. Her family, she's like the hermit, the famous hermit that's lived in the wild. Her family lived in the wild. They escaped the war. Her father was a doctor. She had a bunch of siblings. They all died. She's basically the last one left. She has lived there segregated from all of humanity. She builds her own shelter, gets her own food. She's in her 70s now. It's so amazing. But she has, I recently rewatched the doc, and she has her summer home. So she stays in one dwelling in winter and in one dwelling in summer. And her summer dwelling is just a little A-frame tattered kind of thing. Yeah. And there you have it. And so it was kind of a little bit of the inspiration behind the card. Indeed.
Yeah, no, I think it was but I think can you read to me again just what's around the structure?
Yes. Okay, so a family taking shelter from a storm. The dwelling looks ragged, temporary. Okay, just leaves and twigs by a tree. That's what I've got. And then they are huddled together, a little wet, but the earth around them is fruitful, and the storm.
That's what I heard you, fruitful. Yeah. Okay. So that I think that's important. That aspect of having a positive in that card.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because it's not all bad. The 5 of Pentacles doesn't necessarily depict that you are going to be without for a long period of time. It can sometimes be a reminder to make sure that you hold on to a bit of your resources to just battle out a potential financial or resourceful storm. If you have the warning, then you can put some money aside in a little slush fund kind of business. But it can also mean that, you know, a period of restriction can come through, and it has to be a temporary one. It can't just exist forever. And I find that the traditional depictions of the 5 of Pentacles, it's the church that's turned the back on these people that are walking past, the hooded woman, the child, and it's cold, and you've got the arches of the church, and you're left out in the cold. It's like society turns its back on you. The Bonestone is a little different in the sense that it's not society that turns its back on you. It's not an individual that turns its back on you. It's circumstances of life in general that can come from any direction that can impact your level of resources, and it's a temporary passing. There has to be a positive element there. It can't just be all bad.
I agree. That's my I want to make sure that there's something in there. Okay. I think that in order to get the message across, like, so I think that how I'm seeing it, like, is almost like, okay, because we have to see the structure that it's kind of flimsy and wood and sticks and all that, but also we have to kind of see what's going on with the people. So I think that we're gonna have to maybe crop, but maybe include, like, have the wind in the background, and like you can kind of see sometimes in the storm trees curved, like, but I don't think we should put the whole structure too far out and, you know, like make it really small. That's it. Really see the people. Yeah, well, I'll have to draw it out.
Yeah, so however you can see to arrange that one, that would be possible.
Do you want to read through all of them?
Yeah. Okay. Why not? Okay, so for the 6, I was seeing a group of women holding baskets on their head, giving out yummy fruit to a tribe. For the 7, a man that has cultivated a couple of full baskets of truffle mushrooms, and as such reaped his rewards. People would be trying to buy from him too. It could be modified to look more like wealthy if need be. The 8 is a blacksmith working on a sickle blade, beautiful and ornate carved handle, razor sharp blade, a real work of art. That's what I've got up until the 8.
Okay. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about the 6, Allorah. So, all right. So there were a couple of ideas that came also. So we have the women with the fruit giving the.
That was the original idea. Yep.
And then
we've had an evolution of that idea. Anna was doing a bit of reading and she came across a different aspect, and I thought that was really interesting. And then Allorah had something to say about that as well. So we're looking at going perhaps in that direction too. So Anna, do you want to mention that?
All right. So the thing is, for me, and this is just my personal feeling when I see that card, and when I see the 6 of Pentacles, it's always, because of my cultural background mostly, I always tend to see beggars, that they're begging for money. And I think that that's not necessarily the main idea that needs to be taken from the card. So one of my thoughts was you know, that saying, like, if you give, I can't remember exactly how it goes now, but if you give a person a fish, they will eat a day. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll be able to feed themselves for life, kind of thing. I'm sure you know
that's it.
Saying. But so the idea that you can pass down, you know, knowledge and information is much more valuable than if you just give somebody, you know,
a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was one idea. And then the other idea, however we depict it, and then Allorah was actually mentioning now before we went on, just like tell them, Allorah. Tell them, Allorah. Go ahead.
So with the fishing metaphor, to make it not watery, you can take that idea and transfer it to societies that hunt the land, whether it's tracking animals or making traps, and a father teaching a son how to do these things. It's the same concept, just moved to land-based resources.
So essentially, one of the examples that Allorah was talking about was from a document. She's studying a certain amount of hunter-gatherer information through university, and she was looking at a documentary where a father was showing her or his son how to at 10 years old how to create, build, make a snare to entrap food, essentially, a wild boar, and out of vines. So it's very earthy, and it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's not something that we've just devised for the Bonestone. It's a hunter-gatherer thing where you were taught to track, you were taught to hunt, you were taught to farm, and you were taught these things so that you yourself can reap your rewards. You can be more industrious. You can be more resourceful. And I will always have resources as pentacles. Like, I will not ever be able to see pentacles in another way. It will always be resources to me, and resources are such a wide and varied thing. So resources are anything from a physical object to seeds that you plant that you might not be able to reap them yet. You've got time. There's time there. Time is a resource. And then there is knowledge. Knowledge is tremendous power, and it is a resource in and of itself. So if you have good knowledge of the land, if you have good knowledge of the seasons, from the perspective of a hunter-gatherer tribe or a farming community, you can yield a lot more that will nourish you, feed you, clothe you, sustain you completely, heal you if you need be. So
yeah, and I see people in the chat talking about how they have they don't connect to the energy of Pentacles because they have a negative relationship with money. But in that instance, maybe focus on the other aspects of Pentacles.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Pentacles is not just about money. It does look like money. Oftentimes it's called coins. It's called discs. They're depicted as, you know, stars made of gold. And it's hard not to look at those little round circles and not think of coins and not to think of money. But there's as much money in swords, and there's as much money in cups, and there's as much money in wands, which is an ambitious suit. It's not about money. Yes, it is. It's a little bit about money. All the suits are a little bit about money. All the suits are a little bit about emotion. All the suits are a little bit about the thoughtful mental processes. All the suits are about creativity. But when you look at the suit of Pentacles, it's resources. Resources are what will get you from A to B in life. Resources are what will keep you alive. It's not money that will keep you alive. It's your resourcefulness. If you are out in the wild and you have no money, having the knowledge to create a weapon so that you can hunt for yourself is going to keep you alive. Having knowledge to create a weapon that will help you defend yourself is going to keep you alive. Somebody handing you a coin while you're in the middle of the wild, lost, is not going to keep you alive. The suit of earth is about cultivation of life. It's about fertility. It's about getting the absolute most out of life for yourself. And in order for you to do that, you must be acutely resourceful. And so it's not about money. It can be, yes, but it's not about money. You don't look at Pentacles and think, oh, money. You can think of Pentacles as health. If you've got no health, if your health is deteriorating, what will money do for you? What will money do for you aside from actually buy you medicine? Medicine, in some cases, not all, but some you can actually make yourself. You can plant and cultivate and turn it into something and have medicine for a sore throat. Or you can work in correspondence with bees and have a little honey and cure your sore throat. Or you can grow a lemon tree and you can put your honey and your lemon together and help with a little cold. And these are things that we're talking about. That is where you really apply earth. If you want shelter, in times gone by, you had to make your own shelter. You had to know how to carve it out. You had to know how to work with mud, how to seal it, how to make sure that the roof was intact and wouldn't let in water. You had to learn animal husbandry to make sure that you could propagate species and live a resourceful life. It had nothing to do with money, mate. It had everything to do with skill. It's about resources. So now that I've gone on my soapbox there.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was, my point. That's why I was thinking about other ways to show it. And so that was one idea. And then the other one was just to take it a step further in the sense of introducing a more earthy, like introducing earth in a different way and just showing you know, the act of giving, but in a different sense, by removing money and the coins and introducing the idea that you're nurturing some animal, you know, whether it's having, you know, birds on your palm, like on your finger, giving them a piece of bread, you know, just that, but that would give you the message that you are giving something freely to the aspect of Earth itself. So
Yeah,
almost like a an offering, kind of.
yeah. And I guess the Six of Pentacles, when you look at it from a more traditional standpoint, it's about charity, isn't it? It's about, there's a little beggarness to it, which is what Anna was saying earlier on. She had an example from her time in her home country where, you know, she associated the Six of Pentacles with begging. I associated the Six of Pentacles with giving. I've read so many tarot books, you would know this too. You would know this too, Anna, where it's giving with an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
It's like, it's charitable giving. But I've actually read that in that dynamic of charitable giving, one is always the power over the other.
Yes.
And if you've ever read any Starhawk, you'll know that she's very big into power over. And I don't necessarily believe that the Pentacles is about power over.
Oh, but if you
well, even how it's depicted, like in the card, you see the person is standing, and sometimes the people that are being giving the money, they're on their knees, and the person is giving them money. So there's like a hierarchy, even in the stance.
Well, and even if you went with the father-son hunting, whatever example, he has power over because he's the father.
Yeah, power over in a different way, though.
Yeah.
I think it's the way that that's depicted. You know, my dad teaches me how to hammer and wire things up. And I have tremendous respect for my dad. And my dad does it out of love and respect for me because he wants me to be able to sustain myself. That is the type of dynamic that I would like to achieve. Not the dynamic of a bank handing out, you know, charitable donations, or a charity handing out charitable donations. It's a noble cause. And yes, it's a little bit of the aspect of the Six of Pentacles. I'm not saying that it's not. In some cases, you just look at the cards on the table and you know that some of your resources are going to come from an outside source. It's going to be an act of charity. And that act of charity can be somebody stepping up going, hey, I can show you how to do that, or I can help you in exchange for this. And that's still an act of charity, but it's not, it doesn't have that beggar connotation to it, and that's what I'm trying to step away from.
Right.
So,
right, so why don't I start sketching some of these?
well, which one are you going to sketch now for the six? Like what idea? Like we've got some ideas. You have the I have fruit basket.
Versions for the six. I'm going to sketch what Allorah said, and then I'll try and sketch something with the animal feeding thing, and we can do a vote.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so let me write this down. Just I'm recapping. I need a paper. Recap. All right, so one is the Five of Pentacles is the structure.
The structure, the dwelling, the storm, fruitful earth around, ragged family.
And family, okay. And then the Six of Pens, is this what we just spoke to?
Also, Anna, in regards to family, in regards to that idea of family, may I please request that it be more than 3 or 4 people? Because I find that conventional families are often depicted as, you know, boy, girl, 4, and when you buy tickets, it's like your tickets cover 4 family members. That's considered a family for, and that makes me really angry. I'm a family of 5.
Okay,
some of my friends are family of 3, others a family of 7, and so yeah, not my cup of tea.
Well, usually the teepee structure is, you know, when somebody goes in, when there's people in there, you're going to see heads. So I can put like it's crowded in there.
Yeah,
but you're going to see a couple of people in the front because, you know, if it's an opening.
Yeah. I guess the ideal depiction would be, you know, two parents, for instance, a small child and a bit of an older child, and then sort of like shadowed heads in the background, whatever. But they're very small, but a little child there would mean the world because, quite frankly.
Okay, little child, bigger child, lots of people in the background.
Well, yeah. Two more heads in the background, just shadowed heads.
Shadowed heads.
Shadowed heads.
So that's this. All right. So 5 to 6 of Pentacles. We're gonna try 2 versions, right?
And then we'll do a traditional vote.
Okay. And what was the 7?
What was the 7? 7. The truffles.
All right. So, okay. So I thought it. Okay. So. Truffles
necessarily have to be truffles. We're laughing because you tell it, Anna. You tell it.
Guys, I advise you to go do a search for truffles when they're taken out of the ground. I'll just say that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It just I don't want to draw that. Anyway, so we're all
safe. That looks like poo.
So anyway, I think that if we're if somebody when they're it's going to be a little tricky because I think we have to show like a forced perspective, like somebody kind of like you're seeing somebody by the ground taking the mushroom out because the mushroom is small, so you can't really have a full person if you're focusing on them. So it's going to be like a close-up. You're actually going to kind of see the ground like when they're. That's how I think that it'll depict the idea of, you know, harvesting the mushroom.
That's it.
All right,
I mean, I'm going with mushroom because it's very earthy, but there's no reason why it can't be a totally different fruit and or vegetable. Like
it's going to look funny if it's a carrot.
Well,
I was thinking of watermelon.
A lot of
I like the mushroom though. I like the mushroom. As long as it's not a truffle. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's not
a lot of these societies though, they eat gourds and tubers and roots and just anything that's lettuce, cabbage. It's real big too. So any of those.
Yeah. Go for it, Anna. I like mushrooms. It's really, I think mushrooms, there's so many different species of mushroom.
Yeah.
So many different species. There's hallucinogenic mushrooms. There's your Chinese medicinal mushrooms, the reishi mushroom.
All those big ones.
Yeah, the toadstool type mushrooms. And
what was the 8?
The 8 was the sickle. The sickle, ornate sickle, sharp, carved.
Okay. And now he's
at a bone.
Is it a
bone handle? A bone-handled sickle with like a very curved crescent shape, very sharp. But the idea is the craftsmanship behind it. So special emphasis on the refining of details on that one because it's a card of mastery and refinement, repetitious task. All the repetitious tasks that you've ever done in your life, creating that level of mastery. You know, folks, if you get the 4 and the 8 together, that does depict that you can essentially or have essentially gained mastery over an object. It is one option.
All right.
And I would think that you'd want the sickle to be bigger, like visually larger. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and sketch them out. And what are you guys doing while I do that?
That's a good one too.
Saffron.
Or
Beets. Oh yeah.
Because y'all eat beetroot here, like, oh. Like,
have you seen a beetroot in this house?
Not in this house, but I'm talking.
Oh yeah, we love our beetroot and our pineapple.
You know, I haven't really been exposed to too much of that.
Really? Yeah, you'll get a burger and it will come with beetroot or pineapple on it. Yeah. Hawaiian pizza, ham, cheese, pineapple. Yeah.
In the States.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. didn't know about this ham and pineapple business in the States. I just naturally assumed.
Oh yeah, there's a whole meme about it.
All right.
It's pineapple on pizza, and the guy's like, something I can get behind.
I actually saw Sunshine Morning Ray post a meme the other day going, I'm sorry, I've got to declare something. This has been bothering me. Some of you might like to like along the lines of this, mind you. Some of you might like to even like defriend me as a result of this. But pineapple absolutely does go on pizza. It just made me laugh. All right, folks, if you have any questions regarding the Bonestone thus far, then I suggest you begin asking your questions now while Anna is taking the time to sketch. I would also like to say ahead of time that I have sent off the necessary information, bar a couple of things, to Animal Dreaming to receive a quote for the printing of the deck here in Australia. I also contacted Rockpool Publishing, and I spoke to Paul and his wife Lisa, who are really, really lovely people. They have a self-publishing arm called Love and Light. And just so you know, yes, I'm talking to publishers, but I'm talking to them about their self-publishing options. And I like the idea of going through Australian-based companies because it makes it feel a little bit more accessible to me. They speak a language in a dialect that I personally understand, so I don't have to try and get behind any kind of non-foreign language, which is doing my head in, quite frankly. But there we have it. So I'm looking at both of those. I've got to get some information to Paul and Lisa, but I have been a bit flat out sightseeing. Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys saw on Instagram. We went up to Kuranda, which is not far, is it? It's just up the road, just up the range, and we went to the Barron Falls. That was a picture that I posted, I think, this morning, maybe. Not sure.
And for those of you in the States or in Canada, seeing that was equivalent to the time that I went, the times that I went, because I went a couple times to the Grand Canyon. It's the same kind of awe-inspiring feeling you get when you're just standing there and you're looking at this huge, divine earthen creation that makes you feel about that big.
It was big. It was big. And we have had a lot of rain here. Allorah came over saying, oh, I haven't seen rain since January. Well, all the rain in the world fell here in the first couple of days that she was here. My husband was actually unable to go to work one of these days because all of the roads were flooded over. And so we just, schools were on limited staff, and it was really, really wet. Really fun. Like really, really fun. Fun for us too, from a resource perspective, because we had just laid fresh turf. And I don't know if you guys know anything about fresh turf, but basically it needs to be watered quite a bit. And if it wasn't for the rain, we would actually have to put our sprinkler out there, pay money for that water. And we didn't have to do any of that because we got so much water that our lawn in the backyard looked like a little lake at one stage. And it was really sacho. So
That means
We have snow here. I'm so sick of snow. I'm like, no
oh,
more.
I'm so happy I'm not here.
Not it's like the kids were home like a whole week.
Oh.
It was like we had 2 snowstorms back to back, and I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna do my work, and then poof, school closed for another 2 days. So it's like every time I think that I can actually settle down, something happens, and then we had like ice, and it's supposed to be spring.
It's supposed to be. But you know what they say, there's no such thing as global warming. So whatever. Mind you, Anna sent me a few pictures of her place under snow. And of course, that's not a scene that I am familiar with. We don't get snow here. And the idea of snow to the majority of people that live here is like wonderland. It's like romanticized. Oh, snow is so amazing. They don't actually think of the mud or the shoveling or the kinds of precautions that one must take in order to be or exist or drive around or, engage in that kind of weather. I showed my children and they asked me if that's where Santa lived.
Yes, yes, tell them definitely.
Get a lot dusting. I of course had to educate them, you know, accordingly. And I said, don't be ridiculous. Santa lives in the North Pole. Which is a little further away.
I'm really surprised that you didn't say
Santa doesn't exist. My husband's been telling me to axe the Santa business for a really long time. I quite frankly, I love the story of Santa. I love the story of Saint Nick. I think it's very sweet. A bit Six of Pentacles.
but you didn't tell him the truth, and that Santa lives in Tassie.
My dad has started to look exactly like a traditional Santa depiction. He has a big belly and he has a big white beard and white hair, and he wears little glasses when he reads, and he's got a jolly little way about him. And the kids always think that he's Santa. I actually tell them, I'm like, he could be Santa disguised, just like Superman. Like Superman's disguise, it could very well be Santa. And they always like, wow. And because my dad is very doting of the children, like, take this, have that. It's like, oh, it's Santa. So it's quite sweet. Allorah, you should totally do some banging. Allorah got the drum. She wants to have a bang. I'm gonna move away.
Allorah, show us what you got.
I need another stick though.
It's not a snare
I
drum.
could be the Van Halen of shamanic drumming.
Allorah, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh my goodness. We had a good drum beat yesterday. Oh. It's my thing. Ain't but a thing, chicken wing.
Don't tell your kids that.
This is it. Look, where was it? Oh my gosh. I told my 7-year-old niece about Krampus and she was terrified and started to cry.
No, that is the stuff I'm thinking. Allorah looks too young to know about Van Halen. Oh, I love you. That's so sweet.
There we go. That's a little bit better. Managed to get that. That's where it needed to be.
You know that.
Yeah, from time to time.
Sounds similar now.
No, it sounds different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a more African sound. That's a more, I live in the Amazon.
Also, you guys should hear Ab sing. She actually can sing. Yesterday morning, she went all through the house drumming and singing, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my life, folks. That's my life. It's not dramatic. It's not.
That's my life. Whatever.
Well, it is. It is. I don't know how.
I need a little help here, people. All right, so Avalon, your right hand. I want you to hold your right hand like this. Can you do that? Like point. All right. Hold it like I need a model.
Hang on, I'll hold it. Hang on. Where's the best? Okay, there.
Actually, the other one. Sorry. No.
There.
Yeah. All right. I'll fit. No, the other one. The other one. The other one. There we go. That one. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to hold it against the black screen of the TV so you can see it easier.
Actually, you know what I need? Can you turn your hand this way, like this? That's what I need. There we go.
You shouldn't point because every time you point, a fairy dies.
Oh no.
It's an old thing. It's an old superstition. It's not from my culture.
All right.
I think it's an English thing. I think it's also a way of teaching your children not to point and be rude.
All right, you can put it down now. Thank you.
Can't wait to see what she does with that. Well done, Anna.
Pointing at some bones.
Yes! That would be so fun. Allorah unboxed a really awesome deck yesterday, and she took the, she opened up the box and everything and took out the book, had a little bit of a look at the book, cast the book aside, and started to go through the cards. I picked up the book and I opened it to one page, and it was this awesome, like, bone maiden thing with nurturing a belly. It was so awesome. And I turned it around to her and I went, oh, look at this. And we were both in agreement that it was a fucking brilliant card. And then she does a draw for herself. I do a draw for me. Well, she does a draw for me, I should say. And the first card out is that fucking bone maiden, a baby. I'm like, yes, so there. What did it stand for? Preservation. Thank you. Very resourceful, don't you think?
They're the tiniest cards ever.
I know, they're the Norman size. It's so nice. Look, feel this stuff. Yeah. They're not too glossy. I really wish they were in a tin, though. Mm. I'm talking about the Earthbound Oracle, folks.
Oh, I have that.
It's so small, isn't it?
Yeah. Quite teeny.
I actually should shuffle this newer deck. But we jumped on live. It was hilarious.
I still think you should not have deleted it.
I didn't delete it. I just put it as unlisted. I'll share it on my personal Facebook page and that. But I got some really, I got immediately, because I don't know if you guys, those who were there remember that we had to delete a lot of troll messages. As soon as that video went up, they started commenting, and it was really horrible. When I woke up in the morning, I saw this really horrible message. I was like, fuck this shit. And so I unlisted it, and I thought, no, I'll unlist it, but I'll list it onto my personal Facebook page so that those who want to see it can, without having the We were very wind up. But she was.
I don't know why they were so mean, though.
I could not focus.
A little, because I was like, I had to take the kids to school, so I was like, I was supposed to be making lunch, and I was like, my kids were like, Mommy, we're hungry, and I'm like, yeah, just wait a minute. It was like 8. I was supposed to leave in like 20 minutes, and I had to I was like, oh gosh, shit. Don't come on in the morning. Okay? Ruining my morning.
Oh my God, it was hilarious though. We finished that though.
I haven't really started on World yet. Well, I put a few words down. I'm in World. We actually went out in the World yesterday, didn't we? We saw big scheme, big picture business.
Yeah.
Yes. Finished Judgment. I'm at the World. That's relevant. Anna said that we wouldn't do any work while Allorah was here, and I actually finished the write-up for Judgment. And
I was actually thinking, I was gonna say, so how much work did you get done?
Oh, I did some great work. Actually, let's see if I can pull up here this is what I've written for Judgment. Okay, so the Bonestone name for this one is She Who Is Unnamed. Elemental attributes: fire, water, astrological correspondence, Pluto, Kabbalistic Shin. Anyway, the narrative. Here's the narrative. A time of initiation was upon her, she who has sat betwixt unnamed, unseen, in the sanctity of the forest, tended to only by the daughters of the moon. She has not uttered a word, nor partaken in the feasting of flesh for nourishment, she who has been purified for the reckoning. On the night of the winter solstice, the time has come for the ritual to begin. First, she, the nameless, disrobes. Her hands are then bound behind her back. Her eyes are concealed behind a blindfold. Complete trust must be given to her carers as her senses are restricted. She is then anointed from feet to crown and brushed with aromatic leaves and led to a sacred place where two streams converge and the will of the goddess is felt. There beneath the ancient weeping willow, the crone stands sword in hand, ready to hear the vows of the initiate and confer with the gods. It is at this moment, in this place, where every initiate must atone for their deeds. Then and only then can she be given her name and rise as a priestess of the arcane. Give myself goosebumps.
Nice, man. That's like deep.
Yeah. Is that nice though? Like, how's that going?
Like deep. Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. Well, I'll read in the reading and then reversed because I've got a bit more here. So when judgment appears in a reading, it may represent that a time has come for you to atone for your deeds. The choices you make and the actions you have taken have inevitably led you down the path to this very moment and the choices that you now currently face. Judgment has also been beckoning a moment of profound clarity, an awakening of sorts, perhaps even an epiphany. This is the moment of pure divinity where you have connected with the ancient Druidic principle of Arwen. Judgment may also appear as a literal message which states that you now know what is necessary to make your own judgment of a situation. There is no longer the need to consult with outside forces. The writing is on the proverbial wall. Initiation into a new phase of being is yet another aspect of judgment. Life has taught you many important lessons that now form a powerful well of knowledge inside of you. Use your power wisely. Such inner knowing can prove to be a powerful catalyst for lasting change. Then, reversed, I have, when judgment appears reversed in your reading, it may be to counsel you to heed the call, as hard as it may be. Trusting your intuition and relying on your inner knowing can prove to be a challenge for many. But when you find the necessary courage to do so, you will find a sense of peace and validation. That is not easy to come by. Maybe that's what I meant to write. It's not easy to come by. Judgment reverse may also be warning you that what you believe you know could very well be a misrepresentation of events. Delays leading to eventual success are also possible when judgment is reversed, but only when doubt is effectively eradicated. Lastly, prejudice may decide to rear its ugly face when judgment is reversed. Acting with courage, dignity, and self-respect will gain you the upper hand. Resist the urge to embrace old coping mechanisms and outdated belief systems. Stand firmly in your power. There you go. I shan't read the How's that, folks? I need a rating on my writing out of 10. I need you to validate me out of 10.
I think you aced it. I think you got the 10. From me, that is.
I'm feeling a little nervous at the moment because I've been talking to motion. Get on with it. That might actually be a signal for the 8 of Wands as opposed to 7. I've been stalked.
What I miss?
I've been stalked by the 7 of Wands, Anna. The 7 of Wands. I've been stalked by it. Cross decks.
Oh, I pulled it for you.
Yeah, she's pulled it for me. Yesterday, the oracle reading that Allorah did with the Sacred Earth? Yep, Sacred Earth was essentially 7 of Wands. It's like, oh, hello, 7 of Wands. Oh, look, I got 10s. I need you around fangirling me for a little while just to get my confidence up. No, but seriously, guys, I am feeling a little bit nervous because those who have approached me, like the 2 publishers that have approached me about the Bonestone, have been very complimentary of the artwork. The artwork is, of course, 100% Anna, and she's infused so much talent, power, tenacity, amazement, magic. She's put so much into that artwork. So when people see it, they respond to it. Not too many people have seen my writing, and so their thing has been, well, you know, we need to first see your writing. So what's your writing like? And I'm thinking, I don't know now. Like, I feel nervous. You know, I feel apprehensive. Like, the writing has to be as good as the artwork. It has to match it at least. You know what I mean? It can't just be amazing artwork and shitty writing. Like,
we talked about this.
What did you want on the sickle again? You wanted the bone handle. But see, okay.
Hang on to my right. Hold on.
The thing is, when a blacksmith is working on a metal, on the sickle or knife, whatever, they usually, you know, they hammer it and they use clamps to hold the metal blade when they're doing this stuff. So you're not gonna really, I don't think you can see the handle unless he's not working on it.
Well, he could be at the point of carving.
Yeah, what if he's carving?
I'm thinking of
or whatever into it.
Yeah.
Symbols, something.
I think you won't be able to necessarily show him in his entirety. It might just have to be hands and real focus on the action of carving. Although it kind of like you kind of want to see the person's face. You want to see their concentration, their attention.
All right, so let's okay, so he's.
Yeah, but okay, so what if you did him?
What do they use to do the designs on the metal? Does anybody know?
What do they use to what?
What, say that again?
When if they etch, I guess would be on the metal blade, right? What do they use? Is it
I guess you could, you know what, you could probably use bone. Like you wouldn't really have metal. It wouldn't. Oh yeah, you would.
Yeah, but are you wanting etching on the blade, or are you wanting carving on the handle?
Carving on the handle.
It's carving on the handle?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because that'll be easier to depict, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go handle, like I still would like etching to be on the blade. However, if I depict the action of carving on the blade itself, it will be very wands. But if the sickle has already been carved and the carving is down to the hilt, or the handle of the knife itself, it could be working on that bone aspect. And could be carving a face. Maybe he's carving a face rather than a symbol, like a face of a divine goddess, the face of a deity. So maybe it's a sacred sickle, in the sense that if you put a fertility deity face on the handle, then when you carve it, it's got that aspect of divine sacred attached to it. That's not like historical information, folks. Just for those out there going, it's not historically accurate.
But if you're wanting like a particular deity or whatever to be seen on this handle, he would have to be like profile view type and like hand, and then that be the majority.
You could almost put the Empress. You could almost put the Empress carved in the handle.
Yeah, most people have to get cut off from alcohol. Not her. It's coffee. Always coffee. Give her a hard time.
All right, I'll see how I can get that. Let's see.
I'm gonna need you at a 7.
Well, sometimes you catch me off guard because you're so even keel, and then you get excited and you're like, oh! I'm like, oh.
I'm just an excitable person. I am. I'm a pretty high energy, excitable person.
Yeah, and what you guys see on this video, that's how she is, like, all the time. It does not change in her.
Gotta be real, hey. Hey. Swords. No, you don't. Maybe that's me. That's the haters hating. Or so this is not shuffled yet. I've got the 4 and the 5 side by side. in ones. The downside of handover shuffling is you don't often get the shuffle that you get when you riffle. But with that said, it's not enough for me to actually go, I abandon my morals, I shall riffle. I just want to air a pet peeve, folks. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? I want to air a pet peeve. There is this thing, and I must confess, there's this thing that really bothers me. There's this thing that really bothers me. Shall I say it one more time? Just a special emphasis. It's the pronunciation of the word tarot. It's not tarot. It's not. It's not tarot. Don't say tarot.
Parrot.
Tarot. Tarot. Tarot.
Like parrot.
Like parrot. Yeah. It's not tarot. There's a lady here that lives in Cairns. She says tarot. We're no longer friends. Serious, true story. I can't tolerate it. It's my craft. It's something that I talk about quite a bit. Every time she says it, it makes me want to. And not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan.
That's getting close to
Oh yeah.
This thing's on, man. So I got a new deck yesterday. Here, I'll show you. I don't even know if it's in the States yet. This is Sacred Earth Oracle. And I love the back. The backs. They're really pretty. They're, let's see if I can find the one that you were talking about.
Tarot does not rhyme with carrot.
That's what I said. That is exactly what I said when we were discussing it earlier.
What if I say the word in Spanish? In French, it's tarot. In Portuguese, it's tarot.
There's no language where it is.
Where it sounds like ferret, parrot, or carrot. So knock that shit off.
I'm almost done, okay? I'm almost, thank you, being patient there.
She pulled a card, then Anna, and said, Anna's almost done.
It's that formation. It's like, oh, Anna's almost done.
That's what I just said. I said I'm almost done.
No, but that was before you said it. I said it.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Hirochi.
In Danish, it's with a hard T at the end.
You're going to go in order.
The Danes didn't come up with it. Probably the Italians are the only ones that can really bitch about that because it was, I don't even know, Tarochi? Tarochi, yeah.
Still not tarot.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Wait. And go, Anna.
Okay. All right. Let me just. All right. So five of Pentacles. The person, group of people under the thing. All right. So hold on. There we go. All right. Better. Okay. So
Yes.
So there's the father, the older child, the mother, the smaller child, group of people. This is like an A-frame with like sticks and like leaves and stuff. The woods in the background are curved because I'm thinking somehow to depict like stormy. And then at the base in the front, maybe we can have like flowers and like leaves and like pretty vegetation.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, good. So that's the 5.
You can start thinking that at any moment.
All right, 6. So there's a couple of versions for the 6. Did I just like, okay. So the 6, all right, so this is version 1. This is the one with the fruits. And I had her like offering, I just put a child, you know.
Yeah.
But that's more traditional, right?
Yeah, more traditional giving.
This is Allorah, where you have like, I have to look at how to do a bow and arrow kind of thing, you know. I take it that's a good sign.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So I have to look at how to, I need to see how to do that.
I had such a hard response to that one. I just thought,
Right?
I want to marry that man.
You have married that man.
And then this is the other version, the one this is like offering
Birds.
little birds on the perched, and then there's like offering a seed. So the 3, okay. So I'm gonna label them, okay? So A, B, yeah.
Mr. Candelaria.
And C. So okay, so
Yeah.
I
Do you
don't have any.
want to write an A, B, and C on those?
I wrote. Well, you can't see it, so I'm gonna write it at the top. All right, I wrote it at the bottom. Duh. Okay. Well, you can't see it. A.
Are you drinking, Anna?
All right. Okay, so A, B, and C. Can you see them all? Because I can't see it.
A, B, C. All right, folks, it's time for you to vote. A is the fruit basket. B is the man teaching his son how to shoot a bow and arrow. And C is birds feeding on the finger. A, B, C. Go.
What do we have?
Vote B.
Tell me to.
B, B, B. Lots of C's, lots of B's, lots of B's. Lots of B's. Like so many B's.
That's not fair.
Without my B's, there were B's.
All right.
C and B, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. C and B are pretty close. I think if you look really carefully, we might break even. Okay.
All right. So it's between these two then now. B and C.
Arrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's between B and C.
B and C. That's the.
So many cards. Too much coffee. Too much coffee.
What are you guys doing?
We're deciding. We're deciding. We're time breaking. Woo!
What is B? Oh.
Okay.
Or what I was thinking of. All right, now C.
He's out. Don't bother with C. Oh no, C. That's it.
Yeah.
What?
So these are bees. These are bees. King and magician. Woo. Lovers. Means I'm fucking confused.
Look at the angel in this. She's even like,
She's like, yeah, look, I'm using hang on. I'm using steampunk tarot. She's like, either or, either or. And then the Seven of Swords goes, we're just gonna steal it. We're just gonna be underhanded and we're gonna steal it. Whereas B is all about the magician and the King of Swords. B is very boss. How do we feel about that? How do we feel about that, folks? Lots of C's. Lots of C's.
oh, Natalie, you don't know.
You just Natalie, get on board with the B.
Freaking Leo. Not all about you.
Oh, guys, it's really close. I don't know, Anna. Can you discern?
Aside from all the B's that you put in there's a lot of C's.
Yeah, there is a lot of C's. Should we count them? Should we count them? Oh, God. Don't count mine.
Natalie, you're fired and I'm kicking you out of the street.
You can't sit with us.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I'll count so you count me, okay?
Oh, 1, 2, 3. How do I? All right. Wait, I gotta go all the way back.
Yes, you do.
Shh, count quietly.
Oh, you guys are funny. Or you could just have 2 cards. 2 cards for the Six of Pentacles. They can just swap them.
Oh, 19 C's.
Oh, God. I can't keep track of. All right, 1, 2, 4, 6, 13, 14.
Aw, thank you, Amber.
Yeah. By like 2 or 3.
So how many B's are there, Laura?
I stopped counting at 21, but there was more B's.
Yeah. I stopped counting at like.
She's reading her emails now. She just stopped counting. She went back to me.
B won. B did win. B did win. By default. Anybody else care to count as well? I would like a third party confer on this one. I tried to skip double counts, like double votes, my own, of course, and Allorah's. So some people had actually voted twice, and I tried to skip over the double votes and get one individual person per letter. So I would highly appreciate like a, what do you call it? A proof counter to be.
Everybody's peeing. It's like I'm the only one left, guys. All right. Well, either is fine with me. So, you know, I like birdies. I like birdies. I think they both give different vibes. This one is more, has more power. This one is gentle, has a more gentle approach. So it depends on how you see the suit of Earth, I guess. I'm more gentle. So, and now over to me, right? I am. Should I start playing with my cards too? Let's see. I'll take this one. Let's see. Okay, they pulled the card, right? They did cards to decide which one to go. So I might as well do my own little thing here. Right, Christina, the bird has a caregiver feel. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It just takes care of the little birdies. You did not pee. You went to get chips.
I did both. my kitchen's only 2 feet away from me. Like I'm that close. Look, I'll show you. I don't have to go far to get to the kitchen.
Oh, you took out your altar table that was by the door.
I'm on it. Hang on, let me get her.
I'm pulling a card. This is for B, and this is for C.
What did you get?
I'm actually pulling 2 cards for each one. Okay. Okay.
This is noisy food.
See, I'm getting, all right, so I got the, I'm using that. I got the eight of cups for B and the King of Swords.
Oh my God! You went the House of Cards. I thought you weren't in a whimsical mood.
It's the tea. And then for C, I got the 8 of Wands and the Queen of Swords. C.
Hang on, which one was which? Say it again.
This is C.
Oh, that's a good one. What was the B?
This is B. 8 of Cups and the King of Swords.
8 of Cups. Well, 2 8s.
Right. I read it more like a C.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't decide. Honestly, I can't decide, guys.
All right. Well, we don't have to decide right now. You can decide later, but now let's do the. I had a couple. Did I have a couple? Yeah. I had the 7 to go. Oh yeah. Did I show you the 7? I can't remember.
Which
no,
one?
I didn't. All right. So the 7. You want to move forward to the 7 sketch? Let's just do that. All right. So the guy grabbing the mushrooms.
Guys, just stop for a second. Like, look outside the window.
There's a bird. Ha! See? I told you it's a C.
I think it's a C, guys. I think it's a C.
That's what I'm talking about.
Keep that B for my next deck, Anna.
Okay.
That B will be non-negotiable then.
Birdie came to say hi. The birdie said, I'm going to come say hi because she won't feed me, so I'm going to stop by. All right, so this is the 7. All right, here's the 7.
Oh, I like that.
So he's down by the ground, and he is harvesting the mushroom with a knife. Yeah. That's how they go and they cut it at the base. Mm-hmm. So that's the 7. And then
that's for Natalie.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Gloating. I'll show it though.
and this is the which one is this one? 8? 8.
Yeah.
All right, 8.
Favorite.
So 8 is the bone carver, right? So this would be the handle. He's holding it, and then he's carving with the other one. But I don't know what he's going to carve on it. We haven't decided.
That will come.
I do want to mention something now that I'm thinking about it before I forget. We do have Hephaestus as the knight, I believe, of wands, and he was a blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be having 2 blacksmiths in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is why I really didn't want the emphasis on the blade, but more the bone.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you've got that tempered steel thing, which is very fire.
Uh-huh.
But this is the refinement of the skill. So this is about the carving. They could essentially be carving anything, but because it's earth, I wanted it to be a blade for the harvest. So it was there was a thought process there.
But you're good with how much you see from him, like in terms of the fact that you're not just seeing the hands and you're seeing the person. Okay.
I am.
So we have. So we did quite a bit of cards. 5. There's 5 again. There's 5. 6.
Look at that.
7. And 8.
How do we feel about the 8 being a woman?
She can be a woman.
Yeah, I'm thinking. It'd be another way to pull a bit further away from Hephaestus as well. Such a strong masculine presence, having a female craftsman.
Yeah, I'm good with hair. I can't wait to put some long hair on her.
Yeah, flowing in the breeze. Flaming red hair flowing in the breeze.
Yeah.
Freckles.
You serious?
These tribes are, yeah. No, women absolutely. I've done that.
Erica is asking no skulls.
It could be a skull nearby. If it's a woman, give her a little bone bracelet.
So
Some little
make
motifs on a hand, something that puts a little.
So
a little
we are making her a woman.
A big part of it?
We are making her a woman.
I think so. Yeah, I feel right about it. I also feel right about a beer, but I don't have any at the moment.
A woman with a beard.
No, I was talking about beer as in drinking.
Oh.
What did you put in your tea? A woman with a beard? Oh, Anna, I love you. What have we got here? Or have the sex be ambiguous? Why would we do that? Women are beautiful. I love it, Natalie. Nice one, Solaria. Greetings, Mermaid Rhonda.
Hey, I made her a woman.
Yes.
Anna, 2.5 seconds.
Whip that out, no worries. Yep. Freckles. flowing red hair. Yeah. I feel so good about that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really good about that.
Yay.
16. Hang on. Made a list of the votes and counted 16 original votes for B and 9 original votes for C after cancelling out punky double votes. So B did win by default.
But the bird came by your window.
Yeah.
Do you know where she lives? Like, you have to duck out of the way of the birds here. Like, it's like entering a, they call this.
She says yesterday, it's like, that's right. Yesterday, I'm taking her through to Barren Falls, and he says, I feel like at any moment, a giant dinosaur is going to pop out and get me. I'm like, it's not quite Jurassic Park.
That's a T-Rex.
That's right.
Because the path through this rainforest is in the middle of the trees. So the trees are still way over you. And you're just waiting for T-Rex to just come to you and snatch you off the bridge.
It's beautiful. Right, well, we've got our cards. It's time for our card slinging.
Yay.
We'll sort out the details behind the scenes as per usual. They'll probably take a different shape.
Natalie, I'm going to need you to not put everything in capital letters. My God.
What?
Oh my God, I never get to catch a live stream. Oh, it's Mark! Aussie Witch 90. Oh
He's awesome.
so good. Guys, if you don't know who Mark is, he's Aussie Witch 90. Go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He is amazing.
Unique content.
Unique, super unique content. Not boring, not tried and done and generic. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
That is a very disgruntled chip there.
What about the
That's a disgruntled.
I'll look at the chip. How dare you do that? Extra vinegary. Oh man.
All right.
He's blushing.
Now, Mark's going to come up and visit. He's got family in Cairns.
Oh, nice.
We just have to arrange it. All right, folks, let's put out there some little questions. We are going to be slinging some cards now. I'm going to dry my hands. Not dry, but de-oil them because I'm about to touch some out of print deck business here. Right. So I have here the Victorian Romantic Tarot. What edition is this? This might be a first edition. It doesn't actually say.
No, I'm looking for my cards. I'm trying to decide which cards, if I should go with the Hezico or the Druidcraft. I'm undecided. I'm in both the whimsical and I love this deck. So I'm confused.
Which one? The Hazakos or the Druidcraft?
Yeah. I don't know which one to go with.
Oh, I love the Druidcraft.
Yeah, let's do the Druidcraft. I'll do the Druidcraft.
You trimmed your Druidcraft. You trimmed your Druidcraft.
I did trim it. I trim a lot of my decks. Most of my decks that are have borders are trimmed.
Words, can I? Hello, my tribe.
And I'm the Mary L. I'm transforming into a oracle.
You said. I'm very excited. I actually am very impressed and have full faith in your ability to do that. However, I have had the desire to also trim a deck but I have terrible luck with things. I'm a little bit clumsy. Things rarely turn out the way that I plan them to. So I can't bear for there to be a negative outcome with a deck under my hands.
Well, you just have to go for it, you know.
I need the right equipment though. I wouldn't like to do it by hand.
Well, I do it with a scissor.
Yeah, of course, but you are also a master arts person and a sculptor, a painter, an inker, a witch, an amazing Romanian. Like, you have so many skills that I'm like, I can barely like hold, I can't cut in a straight line. Not even if there's a line for me to follow, can I cut in a straight line.
But you don't need to have skills to cut in a straight line. Okay, maybe.
She thinks everyone is inherently talented. This is why I think she should teach. She's like, it's easy. You can do it. Everyone can do it. No, actually, some people need to be shown the way. Everyone can, in fact, try, but you'll need to be taught to do so.
Yeah, you just get a corner around.
Like that. Maybe Anna should do a tarot modification workshop.
Ooh.
Oh, did you feel that? Did you feel that? Did you channel that down? Yeah.
How to get corners, how to change the sides and edge them.
3 days edging them with a Sharpie. I feel like that's a thing.
I'm obsessive, people. I'm obsessive. I took the spiral tarot that had like purple borders, and I just manually went with a Sharpie and drew in all the borders black. Yeah.
There you go, Anna.
Not bad.
It's two of pence. It's about multitasking. It's about getting out there and putting your fingers on all sorts of pies.
Yeah, Christina, yes, I will keep that in mind.
Well, Anna, if you need a teacher's assistant, let me know. There you go. Resources thrown at you. Six of 2 of Pentacles and 6. Oh, temperance. About balance. Alchemy, synthesis, art. Yes, art.
So what's the question? What question are we focusing on? From whom?
I have a question.
I don't think have we?
Okay.
No.
If you have questions for the tarot, folks, we're going to be doing some card slinging now. Please put all of your tarot-related questions for reading in capital letters so that we can discern them from chatter.
And I that's funny. So her deck is very alive. But I'll be using the Naked Heart Tarot by the lovely Jillian C. Wild, who's just amazing. Amazing.
I need
woman.
to get that deck. All right. So, okay. All right. So, what's the first question? Advice for helping with my girlfriend through this tough time of hers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I'm just. What the F? Where'd it go?
There you go.
This is a time-consuming process.
I'm glad I'm seeing this now.
I've never had to do this before.
I wonder why.
Because somebody is always onto it for me.
What are you doing? I keep seeing things popping up on my screen.
Yeah, they're the questions. I'm just putting the questions there.
Oh.
The chat will continue to scroll. So this is the only way we can.
Oh, okay.
What? Every time she asks a question, the cards are like, you already know.
You know why? You know why? John butts his shit out of him right up in there in his man business. imagine, folks. Imagine if Anna was in the room with us. Just imagine.
I would not be able to draw anything. Let's just leave it at that.
Oops. Maybe I can do that.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's why I'm not going to do this.
You're not like Cajun Day.
Okay, all right. That'll do. That will do just for the now. Right. Well, we'll start with the first one, which is Ember K. Advice for helping my girlfriend through this tough time of hers. Oh, I got a good one. Got time for a snack. I've been shuffling that for a really long time though. It was ready.
Okay.
What do you got, Anna?
I got the Prince of Wands.
I got one. I got the eyes.
I got one.
Okay, can I start?
You go ahead.
I think we can go in order. Okay, so Ember, I would say that by igniting your creative faculties, that is how you are going to get this done. You might need to take her out of her headspace. You might need to begin to put your heads together and initiate something that is separate from whatever troubled time she is going through. So to take her mind off it, launch yourself into a creative project that you can backwards and forwards, something that can gain her enthusiasm, that can really lift her life force, that can enable her to get excited, a little bit ambitious, take her mind off the problem. So I would start with that ace.
And you had the what? The Knight of...
The Prince of Wands, the Knight of Wands.
Knight. Okay, so I'll go next because I have the page. So this one, when Avalon's talking about a creative endeavor to get her mind off something, I feel like this is also something that you are not necessarily, do not necessarily undertake currently, and this will be something new for you as well. And it will be a learning process for the both of you and kind of give a camaraderie that maybe she's missing currently, and a common ground where you guys can come together and you just create whatever it is that you take on without any outside influence. It's kind of like a world within the world.
Yeah, for the two of you.
Yeah. All right, Anna.
All right. So the Prince of Wands. I am getting the feeling that you have to approach this in a delicate manner, in the sense that since Allorah, you had the page and I have the Knight, the energies are fairly new. I mean, it's not the stage of the king or the queen yet. So I think that maybe, don't go like, like a parent would be very authoritative. And I think you have to be careful how you engage her, because otherwise I think she's going to have a tendency of pushing the information away. So maybe, I guess, a gentle approach, but definitely approach it. And also the fact that the Knight is also an action and movement. It's definitely not a static card in the sense of, he's on a horse. So I think that maybe you should approach however you're going to talk to her, maybe not at home, maybe when you're out to dinner or someplace that is not charged, I guess. So you remove yourself from the environment that she's used to. So maybe then she'll be more susceptible to advice.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, what's the next one? KR?
Yeah, KR? Yeah, question mark. What do I most need?
What do I most need to know as I begin to approach healing and shadow work? Oh, crystal. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. What you got? Reversals. Reverse. That's all I got in my head.
Okay.
Mother of Wands. Ooh, all fire today. Come on.
Oh.
She's in deep thought.
Me? I got the card.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I got the card. You almost looked defeated when you found you went, oh.
No, it's a good card.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
What did you get?
Okay. So I got the Chariot.
I start. Let me
Yeah.
start. Okay. I got the Eight of Cups, which signifies leaving a scene, a set, a stage of your life in search of a deeper meaning. So it's the card of the Odyssey. So if you're going to do any kind of shadow work, it really is about the emotional embarking on and through that process. And so there's a certain level of soul guidance there for the 8, and that feeling that you are in fact on a deep spiritual odyssey. And so embrace that idea of an odyssey as an explorative opportunity for you to effectively grow and heal. Now, following cards.
I'm not sure if it should be near Anna. I know what this says. Yeah, but I think that it's also, okay, well, I'll go next.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the Queen of Wands reversed. So the first thing that came to my mind when this came up reversed is the Queen of Wands is a very active card in the tarot, and she takes on everything at once and kind of is uber creative, uber multitasker, great at doing all of that. But I think this coming up reversed is saying this is something you're not going to be able to blaze through quickly. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to embark on healing and shadow work, and next week we're all done. No, it's not going to come that easy. And also, what Avalon was saying was that this is also could be indicative of if you have mother wounds that you need healed or need to address, especially things in childhood that still linger. I would take a long, hard look at that. And as well, the Queen of Wands in a mother role, she can be very power over, very domineering. And
the father could manifest as a father wound.
But yeah, so don't try to blaze through this journey. Take your time and address everything from, well, try to address the most prominent things from your upbringing, childhood, family structure, and foundation. Yep. Anna?
Okay. So the Chariot, for me, this card right now is telling me that you have to kind of rein everything in. And you mentioned that you're working on shadow work. And so I think that in order to balance yourself out, you have to bring both aspects of yourself, the shadow part and the non-shadow part, in order to get what you're looking for. So definitely focus on your shadow self, but also don't forget the other side, because sometimes when we're going through a process of healing, we are more vulnerable. So we tend to put that part, we want to put it away and gain the strength and kind of don't think about that because you hurt more. But in order for you to move forward, you have to look at it. So, and that means that you have to kind of get very level-minded and just do it. It's really about taking that step and bringing it all together. So just make sure to remind yourself that while you're working on your shadow self, don't disregard your more vulnerable aspect. I do get a sense that you're going at it alone, because the Chariot is a very it's a part of the major arcana, so it's a very important card. But at the same time, there is an aspect of being alone while you're going through it. So just, you know, maybe look outside at the same time as you're doing it. You might get information or help from the outside at the same time. That's it.
Oh, good. Very good. That's very good. Very good advice. We have our next question here, which is Chrome 166. I feel like I've been having a transition of identity lately. Any bits of advice? You go first.
So I got the Devil. So I would say a bit of advice from the Devil in talking about transitioning into a new identity is make sure that it's an actual transition and that you're not trying on the skins of other individuals because you don't like your own skins. I know that sounds, so the Devil's representative of things that we can become obsessed with or addicted to, and sometimes people are addicted to change because they don't like who they are, they're not comfortable in their own skin, they'd rather be somebody else, they feel very judged and just like they don't fit in, and so it's easier to go about chameleoning within society. So if you are transitioning into this new identity, make sure that it's an actual transition of identity and not something that you're doing to blend.
I'll go next. I feel that because I've got the King of Wands here, I feel like the King of Wands is a very powerful archetypal energy and a very magnetic one, very charismatic. And there is this propensity to venerate those in such a position. So this could be someone that you greatly admire, and you perhaps want to borrow some of those, you know, facets, those admirable qualities through your own eyes, obviously through your own lens. Now, it's important to note too that what fits one person will not fit all people. And so if you are looking to emulate someone that you admire at this stage of your life, then make sure you're emulating them for the right reasons and not for the feelings that they necessarily give you. And so if you do want to transition, if you want to have a transition of identity, then do so in keeping with that which is most authentic about you, without the outside influence of another individual or any cultural group, any pressures from the outside. If you're going to transition identities, it needs to be something that is very individual, something that allows you to access the very authenticity of who you are as an individual, and that can essentially assist you to rise to the occasion in your own position there, in your neck of the world, in your own world there. We transition identity because we want to become more than what we are, and in many cases it's a good thing, unless of course we are compelled to do so through unnatural means or perhaps oppressive means. And so be very, very focused on the whys of it, and understand that you have this potential to shine and even access this, you know, this beautiful archetype of the King of Wands. But the reasoning and the natural flow of who you are needs to be incorporated into that person. You can't shut out those qualities that are uniquely you so that you can transition into somebody else. You have to take those qualities with you and make them fit in a new state of being. So take that into consideration. Anna.
Okay. I have the 8 of Swords. So to me, it feels that you've already made this decision based on this card. It feels like you are in the process of actually doing it. And, you know, Swords is also, it's talks about the mental aspect. So mentally, you're at that bridge. But you know, this particular deck itself, you know, it's a different approach of how it's, I always look how a deck has been painted, you know me. But who's going with you into this journey? You know, like, is that important to you? Are you doing this also? Are you being not just open with yourself, but open with other people around you? Because if you're deciding to transition, you have to not only be open with yourself, but open with people around you. And if you're already in this process, because the 6 of Swords is usually not a card that is alone. So it's you know, it's a family that's moving forward. It's
transition,
not just the individual alone in this move. So my question to you would be, have you, you know, talked about this with the people around you? Because I think that's going to really impact you and your decision. And I think that you want to bring people with you on this journey. I don't think you want to be alone. So I think that's an important aspect for you. So that's what I have for this one.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Jay. Allorah's boyfriend's watching. Hi.
How's it going?
Up, mate.
All right, which one's the next one?
How can I connect better to my Hidden Realms deck?
Aha.
Oh, that's a good question. I like it. I like it. Transitioning. Are you going to be the sugar? Oh, she's going to be the sugar.
Sugary.
It really is very nice. Shivin. Okay. Can I start?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cultivate experiences with your hidden realm. To do this, you need to bond with it. You need to bond with it. You need to shuffle it. Even if you don't draw a card from it, you need to shuffle it. You need to take it out and about with you. Put it in your car. Put it in your handbag. Take it out and about. Cultivate experiences. Have accidents with it. Bend a card if you need to. Like, make it your own. Like, I'm not talking about butchering. No, I'm not talking about butchering it, but have an experience with it. One of the things that I absolutely love about my Sun and Moon Tarot is that I took it to a shamanic drum making, and I journeyed into the lower realm under stars. I had it with me, it rained, and the World card got water damage on it. And I would not replace that deck for any money whatsoever. That's my deck. It has an experience attached to it. And since then, I've had many more experiences that don't result in the damage of a deck. But the point is, you need to have an adventure with the deck. You need to physically connect with the deck. You need to smudge it, cleanse it, sit there in ritual with it, shuffle it, read for others, read for yourself. You don't have to fully understand the message of each and every draw, but you have to look at it. You have to recognize the symbolism. You have to take into account exactly how a card or the whole deck makes you feel on a regular basis and cultivate that familiarity. How do you make friends with a person? You meet them, then you organize to meet them again, then you organize to meet them again, then you organize to meet them again, and then eventually they just jump on a plane, fly over, and end up at your doorstep. That's how you cultivate a relationship with your hidden realm. Yeah, take it to nature places too. Oh yes, and because I got the 7 of Pentacles, it really is about, it's about harvesting. So harvest in that resourceful sense, cultivation of those experiences.
And then you're next on the sugar.
I got Princess of Pentacles, which is
What?
it's like, did we all get Pentacles?
Oh no,
I got Pentacles.
You got Pentacles. Okay.
So it's Pentacles.
Oh yeah.
It's Earth. It's sacred Earth.
So
Sacred.
Princess of Pentacles, which is pretty much the page. Like it's going off of what you just said. That's pretty much how I was going to read this one. So thank you for stealing my thunder there. Yeah. Well, it's the novice card. So you're at that point where you're not really, you're learning and you have to continue learning. And also it's part of, you have to like focus and explore. You know, you have to experiment. You can't really box yourself in.
I like it. Are you frozen, Anna?
No, I'm just standing very still.
That was so good. I thought you were frozen then.
All right, now you have to be the sugar.
You have to be the sugar.
So these ladies have told you what, and now the oracle is going to tell you how. Yeah. So the card that came up for you is called Context. So literally you need to create a journal for the Hidden Realms Tarot, and you need to take the cards card by card, and you need to decide what the symbolism means to you. What is your context? You can do this a multitude of ways. You can do it all like day by day. You can do daily draws. One way that when I tell people to do this, one of the best ways I've ever seen to do it myself is to draw a daily card. And then in the morning when you draw a daily card, you write down your thoughts, feelings, what you get from the card, et cetera, and then keep a little log of what happens to you throughout the day and notate it in your journal under that card. And so then you give yourself your own personal context, and then you have things to draw off of when you go to read for yourself or other people. And when you do this, another thing that I recommend is just keywords. Write yourself like a list of keywords that automatically make you think of that card, so that when you hear the word abundance, or give me a more specific word, like yeah, like then you, like for me, automatically that 8 of Wands, Chariot, like I can roll off different cards. Yeah. Run away. But yeah, you need to create your own context for the Hidden Realms that relates to you.
I love that you got two cards of resources, so be practical about it. Yeah. And you're also dealing with the hidden realms, so you're dealing with Fae energy. Fae are the guardians of the natural world, so work with the natural world. Try to bring more of that energy into your reality and bond with your deck in that manner. Hi, we have Natalie. Oh. Can't ask specific questions, and y'all know why. So can I get a general pull, please? I think you should. I think you should.
Kind of love this girl.
Anna, I have to know, when you trimmed your druid craft, did you take the bottom off them as well? I think you took the bottom off them as well and then wrote each.
Yeah, I took everything off and I just wrote at the bottom.
Oh God, you're amazing. You're just so amazing.
I stripped it bare. I have smaller hands. I can't, you know.
Yeah, that's my issue though. I have really small hands. I think if we were to meet and put our hands side by side, we'd have the same size hands. I don't know why I think that. I think we have the same size hands. No, I don't. Oh, maybe.
Allorah, trace your hand and send it to me in the mail. Trace your hand and send it. Yeah, Allorah's gonna.
Oh my God, because he like freaks out about the size of my hand.
Baby hands. Yeah.
All right,
you have to come over. You have to come over to
you know what? Can I pull a tarot and oracle helper? Is that allowed?
Tarot and oracle. I like this deck.
I feel like I need an oracle to go with it. So I'm gonna do my own oracle, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Nice.
An oracle deck? Is this what you said to me the other day? You should do an oracle?
No. I said I'm gonna pull. Yeah, but you should do an oracle.
Yeah.
Without bone.
A bonestone oracle.
Yeah. That's a collector's right?
A complete,
Okay.
and then do a Lenormand.
Yeah. Oh God, that'd be.
All right, so she had a general question, right? So you just, Natalie, you just had you wanted a general.
She wanted a general, and she got a general.
And I know what this is about because I know Natalie.
First.
Okay, so Natalie, like I can tell you from the cards that we've pulled over here, this has to do with your business aspirations, we'll say.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I got a different, but since we got general, maybe there's multiple subjects.
What'd you get over there?
So I pulled one tarot and one oracle.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got the Lovers.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I got Hope.
And you got what?
Hope.
Yeah, see, this all applies to what I just said, and I only know this because I know Natalie.
See, but I'm getting like I'm thinking relationship wise. I don't know. I'm getting like the vibe of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe all right. So going off here on if you're having any type of relationship problems at this point in time, that's what I'm getting from it. That perhaps maybe some discord that's been happening, and I do get a sense that there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and that you should not necessarily focus on the things that were lost, but also focus on the things that you have. So in terms of the relationship. So that's what I'm.
I like it. Well, I've got the King of Pentacles. And this, to me, I get this feeling that you might need to go and speak to an accountant or a bank manager or somebody in the position of resources, someone that can help you working your resources. This could actually mean stepping up as an adult as well, which, let's face it, we all have to do from time to time, and set out a really good either, a budget, a business plan, a health journal, something that is related to that resource sector for yourself. Wherever the highlight for you is, your focus is at this moment in time. Allorah tells me that it's got to do with your business, in which case I would be looking at that structure of finance and business and speaking to someone who is an authority in that particular arena and getting specialized advice for your specific situation. This is a very resourceful card. It's got the card of the nurturer in a fatherish sense. So, speaking to, I don't know what your relationship is like with your dad, or just a trusted older individual, and when I say older, perhaps not age, I mean more experience-wise, someone who has cultivated a good level of experience, someone who has a great understanding of perhaps what it is that you might need to know, and then you might be able to adopt some of those strategies and put them to good work. I'm also kind of taking into consideration the fact that Anna had, you know, the Lovers card, which it can mean co-creation as well, partnerships. And so speaking in terms of partnerships, perhaps you might need to actually partner up in this particular capacity to get what you need from a particular resource so that you can then go at it by yourself. And that's where I'm at with the King of Pentacles.
And then Sacred Earth Oracle, Alchemy, an awesome card. So with this card and with everything that Avalon and Anna have said, a couple things. So if your original idea isn't necessarily panning out the way that you saw it panning out, don't panic, because there are sometimes, okay, I'm just going to put this in the easiest way that I know how. So sometimes you go to buy a house and it looks, you know, it's perfect on the outside, but then when you get inside, there's things that need to be fixed, and there's some cosmetic damage, or some, you know, there's some electrical damage. That doesn't mean that it's a piece of shit house and you should just walk away from it. Alchemy is the ability to take one thing and turn it into something else. So don't be discouraged if how you originally saw something turning out, or the way that something should have gone or go isn't going the way that you want it to. Because, yes? Oh. But anyways, yeah, and also don't get stuck on, because I know that you've had several business ideas, so don't dig your heels in on one thing. Keep an open mind and know that you have various resources available to you. When Avalon talked about partnering, don't rule that out just because, you know, you are Leo. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So yeah, you have resources to do what you want to do. You just need to find a way to synthesize those and make them into what you want to make them into.
That's it. And you're not an only child.
And you're not an only child.
Advice that I gave to my daughter yesterday, my 7-year-old daughter. I literally said the words, and you're not an only child.
Oh, yes. So look up her planets, and I'm like, oh, that explains it. Her moon is in Leo. She needs to be.
Okay, we've got a couple more, and then we might call it just that, because we can't be here forever. So I've got Solaria Willow, advice on dealing with a narcissist in denial. That sounds like a messy relationship. Don't know if the Victorian Romantic is really the right deck for this occasion, but let's see how it reads. Ooh. Ooh. Said she. Ooh. Who's the narcissist? That's the question. Anna, I think you might start.
Okay. All right, so I have, well, in this deck, it's called Rebirth. It's actually the Judgment card. And numerologically speaking, it's number 20 from the Major Arcana. So you're at the end of, almost at the end of the Major Arcana, right? The World card is the last one from that. And so, so the advice that I would say is to move on and not actually engage this individual, because judgment, you know, it isn't just about, it's not about judging people. It's called judgment, but it's actually about rebirth and moving beyond that, right? Beyond, from moving from one stage to another. So in order for you to deal with this, is you have to literally move from one stage to another. So usually with individuals that are narcissistic, you cannot always change them. So if you can't change somebody, usually you have to move beyond that. You move beyond it, or you physically move beyond. Because I do get the sense that is a rebirth. The rebirth card is for you, right? So it can be a rebirth for you if you are able to go past it. If you were to view it as the traditional way, it's, you know, they're coming out of the coffins and you're reaching a point, you're reaching the end of the arcana. So then you're at that point where you will move further away from the situation. That's how I'm getting it.
Agreed. Well, I got the Emperor, and the Emperor is all about order and structure. And sometimes this is about boundaries. Sometimes this card is about putting down some firm boundaries, knowing exactly what you want, exactly what is expected, and put down firm boundaries. In rare cases, well, not so rare, it can actually mean seeking out legal advice, informing yourself, assisting yourself to put down firm boundaries by getting specialist advice. It's a card of law and order, and so it's about making sure that, you know, the facets of your life that need to be in order to effectively deal with this type of personality are in fact in order, that there is an internal strength, that there is confidence, that there is an aspect of leadership and sovereignty that you are embracing each and every time you deal with that individual. So make sure that you're harnessing your power and your strength in a functional manner, not necessarily in an Aryan manner, but a functional manner, so that you can stand firm, you know, in your power. And Allorah's going to tell you how to do that. I can see her card here.
Okay, so the one I got is the High Priestess. I find it very interesting that these are all nature cards.
Yeah.
So
yeah, same thing.
All natures. Good thing. Okay, so the High Priestess, she is one who, she's an archetype that is very intuitive, and you need to listen to your gut when this person is around, because typically narcissists can be very manipulative and they're very good at it. They can make you feel like you're the one doing wrong. But I feel like you are intuitive and you know when things are not right, but you don't listen to yourself. So I think listening to your intuition is key. I also think putting boundaries in place. I don't know what your spiritual practice is or anything like that, but energetic shielding, things like that, making sure your space is cleansed and cleared on a daily basis, especially if you're if you're in a dwelling with this type of energy, you definitely need to be on point with your defensive, energetic defenses, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it. And this can be anything from sigils to sacred adornments, crystals, cheese, there's a million things. Oh yeah. And also if you, I don't know if you do this or not, but if you are someone who slings cards, definitely listen to the cards that are coming up. And it may be hard for you to do so, because I know as a reader, it's really hard for me to read my own cards because I don't like to, I mean, I know what they say, but I'm like, nah. Yeah, it's lying. Yeah, so I just, crazy. I definitely feel for you, because it's definitely a thing, or else we would not have three major arcana cards come up.
Definitely a thing.
And you know, with Anna's card too, and with what you were reading when you wrote your judgment card, the atonement aspect of it.
Yeah, there could very well be a lesson in there for you, which is not the nicest thing to say, like why do I deserve this treatment kind of business, but there is a lesson there for you, a lesson that will help you to cultivate a skill that will serve you in future. And perhaps it's a new coping mechanism, perhaps it's a means of voicing your concerns and advocating for yourself. Perhaps it's about finding that inner strength. Perhaps it's about more than just the narcissist himself or herself, whichever way it falls. But there is a strong lesson there for you, and a lesson that will serve your best interests for years to come. We have got, here we go, Aussie, oh, hang on.
Funky V.
Career path and advice.
Career path advice.
Career path, oh yeah, thanks. Got my dyslexic goggles on today. It's really full on. I've already pulled one. I've got the Page of Pentacles, so I'm going to read the page while you guys shuffle.
Go for it.
I already got one too.
And what did you get? What have you got?
2 of Pentacles.
2 of Pentacles. Ah, huzzah, huzzah. Right. So I have got that. This will help, I think. Yep. Being that I've got the 2 of Pentacles, or sorry, the Page of Pentacles, Anna's got the 2.
Oh, look, and I got the 3.
I feel like this is about embarking on a new career path, potentially with a good level of experience about that career path already under your belt. This has to be a practical decision, a decision that, you know, essentially makes you feel like you are in fact being practical. There's common sense, there's fruitfulness to there, and there's an ability to tap into further resources for yourself, whether that be further income or further experiences that could lead to better positions in the future. And so there's this level of, you know, beginning something at a higher level, most specifically. So it could be going for a promotion, for instance, that puts you in a different position, but doesn't necessarily disregard all of the teaching training that you've cultivated up until this point. So if you find yourself in this particular position, looking around and seeing that there's potential opportunities for a, what is it called, a promotion, for potentially sliding into a different slot in perhaps the same industry with different skill sets, then absolutely go for it, and make sure that you're going for it for those exact right reasons. And remember the practicality aspect of the Pentacles. At the end of the day, it's just work. You may as well make it enjoyable. So make sure that you really listen to that.
Okay.
Anna, all right, and you.
I'm going? Okay.
Yeah.
So the 2 of Pentacles, and, you know, we just worked on the 2 of Pentacles for the Bonestone, so I'm very in tune with the 2 of Pentacles right now.
A lot of Pentacles in this. That's a little slide.
So, in terms of career advice, if you're looking for a direction, I would definitely say that it would have to be a career that requires you to multitask. Not something that you will, it's not something that you're doing only one thing specifically. So, and definitely, since you're multitasking, probably it involves multiple people. So not necessarily, maybe you're not, it's not like a cubicle kind of job. I definitely think that you should look into areas that are that have to deal with organization, you know, structure, but structure in the sense that for you to build the structures, right? So you're multitasking. You're even like, first thing that comes to mind as an example would be a party coordinator. You know, like for instance, that person is multitasking. They are constantly trying to get things in order and make sure that everything's running smoothly. So that's my gut feeling in terms of what type of a career path it involves. And also it would require you to pay attention to all the things that are going around. So make sure that you are definitely looking at multiple venues. So that's for the 2.
All right. And then I got the 3, which in the Naked Heart is represented by ants carrying pentacles uphill. And I actually love this card. What? Where are you at?
To see ants, Anna. Remember our ants?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I'm so glad we didn't do the ants.
I know, right?
Stop, Jillian.
I don't like ants, but that's because Chase and I have like an ant issue. So does Elise. But ant medicine, so I know a lot about ant medicine.
I know something about ant medicine.
Yeah.
Don't I? Don't I?
Yeah, which you have none of. And probably why they're all around you. Yeah. So ants represent patience. I can't even stop. Start laughing. So ant medicine is patience. Ants, they often carry food that's multiple times their weight. And especially like in this card, they're depicted going uphill, so that's hard work. So this is about teamwork. This is about putting in the hours, putting in the work to get to where you want to go, and being patient with your team, with yourself, with where you're at currently, because you will get there, but it's gonna take some time. So, and that's something else with Pentacles that I think people don't necessarily appreciate is it's very slow moving suit. So when you see Pentacles, it's like, oh crap, this is gonna take forever.
Yeah,
but the more time you put into it.
Are you guys throwing cards at each other?
You bet me. We've been watching, Anna, you've got to do this. You've got to watch the Santa Clarita Diet. Have you seen this?
No, I know it's on Netflix here, but I haven't seen it.
Watch the Santa Clarita Diet. You will kill yourself laughing. You will kill yourself laughing.
But the more time that you spend on a project, the better the result will be. Or the more time you spend cultivating skills in your career, the easier time you will have later. Like once you get there, you'll be a better master of your craft. Now, do you want to finish telling the people that line?
That's beautiful. Well, I just want to point out the irony of this situation, and that is that we are working on the suit of Pentacles. We've seen a lot of Pentacle cards come up. We've been able to discuss a lot of the earthly Pentacle energy throughout our card draw. Does anyone else feel like we're in the area of resources?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Four of Cups just told me to fuck you.
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we've got, well, we might make this our last one because we've been at this for a very long time. So we're at Aussie Witch 90, and he has asked, how will my work situation go in the next 3 months or so?
Got one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
I think Anna should go first. You're looking very smug over there. She's like, I've got a card and my cup of tea. Oh, I've got my tea and my card.
Okay, so I got the Two of Cups.
Mm.
So I'm definitely sensing that within the next 3 months, you will find that you will have some type of a partnership. Either it's if it's a new job, or maybe you're going to start a new partnership with somebody, a new business of some sort. But it's definitely a joining of forces with somebody else. I don't see it as a single doing it on your own necessarily. And I do think since it is the two, it's also a it's going to be a very good symbiotic partnership. Yeah, but it's at the beginning stages, so it's like I'm getting a sense of it's going to be like it will go beyond the idea, right? So you're going to start moving the wheels around, but it's definitely coming to form. Avalon.
I think I should go next because I think that should be the end.
Think?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Because, okay, so from what Anna just said, I think that's coming out of this. I think that you felt stagnant and bored and very much not part of a community, a group, a career path, occupation. Like there's been no real camaraderie in what you're in. And so the Four of Cups is like saying that the reason you're asking this and this new partnership is coming out of the fact that you're seeking it out. You've been feeling stagnant and bored and not part of a real supportive field of work, and you're coming into something new.
And I got Justice. Okay, and Justice is all about analyzing your life, and in this case, because your question is in relation to work, you really need to examine very closely the balance within your work, within your industry, within your workplace. This is about making sure that you're getting everything that you need and making sure that your needs are being met, and not just one part of your needs, not just financial. It has to be a much more holistic thing. So taking into balance the fact that there is more to a nourishing and worthwhile work position than just one thing, and making sure that you get that. You got 2 cup cards come through here. So a lot of it is about emotion. A lot of it is about perhaps compassionate means. With Justice, though, it's also making sure that you are met with a very fair and a very just workplace situation, that you are not doing work that is not, you know, essentially unappreciated, unpaid for. You know, there's many examples I can give you, but making sure that you're being treated fairly, making sure that you're being nourished effectively, specifically emotionally, and that you are absolutely being paid for the work hours and the care and commitment that you are in fact putting into your job, making sure those rewards are coming in effectively, so that there is that sense of you know, of balance and overall justice of the situation. I find here as well in Australia, Australians are hard workers, and we have a tendency to fall in love with our jobs and to really appreciate our bosses, essentially. And we want to do the best that we can, and oftentimes in doing that, we lose the respect for ourselves, and we end up doing more than we absolutely need to, more that we're getting paid for, just so we can, you know, be seen in a very good stead and show our bosses that we are striving and that we are essentially taking the work, not taking the work for granted, so being very serious about it. But a lot of us put ourselves out by doing so. We run ourselves ragged, and it becomes a point of exhaustion and a lack of appreciation that can sometimes come about. And Allorah did get the 4 of Pentacles, which shows a little bit of cups. Cups. So it is a little bit about that lack of appreciation, about that stagnation in the workplace. You can't keep up the rhythm that you've been upholding up until this point, and you might need to partner up and try something different. So, justice.
And the only other thing I want to add to that is, if there's a contract involved, make sure you read the fine print. Oh, you should do ads.
There we have it, guys. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everything. We have been on here for a very long time. We jumped on 11, 12, 1, 2. We've been here for 3 hours. Okay, we cannot be here for any longer. It's probably midnight where Anna is. She's got more to her night than meets the eye. 6 of Wands. Victory! Thank God that wasn't 7. I would have shit myself. Right, so folks, just to recap, we have Anna has inked, painted, completed up until the 4 of Pentacles, and all of those images will be available on the Bonestone Earth Flesh Facebook group. And we have begun conceptualizing the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8. So 4 more cards were conceptualized. We're going to be working on a few of the finer details of those cards behind the scenes. We'll keep you updated as we go through that. And furthermore, the pursuit of a printer is still you know, it's still going on, and I'm getting closer and closer to making a final decision, because soon I will be handing over the money for that printing to occur. I have a deadline of May to complete my writing, so that's something that I'll be heavily invested in. I may even need to suspend readings on my Etsy store so that I can focus completely on my writing and make sure that I'm not getting distracted. My husband will be taking some time off so that I can do this, and he has given me the hot tip and perhaps the suggestion of whisking myself away to one of these little cabins up in the tablelands and just being there for a couple of days and just writing my little heart out. And I quite like that idea, quite frankly, and I may yet consider doing that. So there's no phone service up there, so if I choose to do that, I'll be offline for maybe 4 days. So no updates for me will occur, but I'll let you guys know, you know, what's happening with that. There are just under 250 Bonestone and Earthflesh tarot decks left on my Etsy store. I will not be listing any more decks until all pre-orders have gone out. Many of you know that I have a specific amount of decks put to one side as emergency decks, as promotional decks as well, and they are very important to have. And so I don't know if there'll be any further available. There might be. I'm not saying that I'll need to, you know, replace 200 decks. It's a just in case thing, and if there is any left over, then I'll decide what to do with that in good time. But there is just under 250, and so we have sold as many as we have sold, and without advertising, without paying for any advertising. I will have, and I meant to tell you this at the start of this video, Anna has put together a beautiful video highlighting all the cards in the Bonestone. We made this about three to 4 weeks ago. We've had a little bit of trouble with her getting it to me, but I finally was able to download it, and so I'm going to be uploading that to my I'll be uploading that to my YouTube channel, and I would very much appreciate it if you would consider sharing that around in your own personal circles and tarot circles. I'm not going to be spamming people with that. I'll be putting it on the Bonestone, I'll be putting it on my channel, I'll be putting it on my personal pages and Facebook pages. And, you know, if you would so kindly assist us in getting that out and around in your own personal circles, that would be greatly appreciated. But please only consider doing so if you truly believe in the work that we are doing, if you're truly in love with the deck, and that you believe that the deck is something that is truly worthwhile getting behind. That is when I would like for you to share it. Don't just share it willy-nilly because I'm asking you to do so. You need to be compelled. And if you're not compelled, then please just disregard that. So there you go, folks. That's about it. Allorah Rayne was with us here in the wonderful far north Queensland tropics. Soon it will be Anna. Whether or not she comes here or I go, there is neither here nor there. It will happen. We will be standing in the same room one day, because after 2 years of backwards and forwards on the interwebs, time has come.
Imagine what we can do in person.
I reckon we could actually design an entire deck in one night on wine.
Until your daughter goes, I want art.
All right, folks. Well, thank you to everyone who has joined our Bonestone and Earthflesh bash today. We will be back in another 2 weeks' time. This is technically 3 weeks since our last bash, but we knew that Allorah was coming, so we thought we'd put it off for a week and have her here for the Bonestone bash, because it's quite exciting. And yes, people have been wanting to see a little footage of Allorah and I, but potentially not as drunk as we were the other night. So we are collating a video together and doing that kind of good stuff. Yeah. And that's about it. So if you're not already a part of the Bonestone and Earthflesh Facebook group, please go over there and join. I'm getting a lot of messages from people asking me to see more images of the deck, and all the images are available on the Bonestone and Earthflesh Facebook group. So I encourage you to join that group. It is specifically for the creation of the tarot deck. No other promotional media kind of stuff is there. You have a behind the scenes view of everything that occurs within the deck, and you even get to see Anna do her amazing thing from time to time, which is create the cards. So she will ink them in front of you from time to time. She will paint them in front of you from time to time, and you get to see the actual construction of the cards coming to life. And no one else does this, folks. Nobody else creates tarot decks on YouTube. Nobody else shows you the behind the scenes of tarot decks the way that the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot family does. So we are doing something very unique. It takes a village, a Bonestone village of Earthflesh people to do this. So we are doing something very unique, very beautiful. We are cultivating community as we go about it, and we appreciate each and every one of you for sitting here with us time and time again and participating on our creative endeavors. You add greatly to the experience, and we are so, so appreciative of all the wonderful energy that you bring to each and every one of our Bonestone bashes and to the construction of the deck itself. So much love to you all. A big thank you from me, and I will talk to you soon. Guys, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye, guys. Thank you again. This was fun. I got to read some cards.
And we loved it. And we loved it. A new series will be born out of this. You better believe it. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Look after yourself.